Hey there, folks. Before we dive in, just a quick reminder to follow Sky Alert USA so you don't miss any of our weather updates, today and in the future. We're here to keep you informed and prepared, so stick with us for all the latest. Good day, everyone, and welcome to Sky Alert USA. Today is Saturday, January 11th, 2025, and we're bringing you critical weather updates affecting millions across the United States and Canada. This weekend is witnessing one of the most significant winter weather patterns of the season, with multiple storm systems, historic lake-effect snow events, winter storm warnings, and severe temperature drops impacting communities from coast to coast. Whether you're planning to travel, have outdoor activities scheduled, or simply need to prepare your home and family, this comprehensive weather briefing will provide you with everything you need to know about today's conditions and the crucial 3-day forecast ahead. All right, let's get into today's weather situation for January 11th, 2025. The Great Lakes region is experiencing one of the most intense lake-effect snow events of the winter season. This phenomenon is particularly severe this year due to historically low ice coverage on the lakes. According to the latest data, ice coverage across the Great Lakes stood at just 4.7% in early January 2025, dramatically below historical averages for this time of year. This lack of ice cover has created perfect conditions for extreme lake-effect snowfall. 8 states are currently under winter storm warnings and advisories, with the most severe impacts hitting Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, and New York. Wisconsin is experiencing some of the hardest-hit conditions, with Door County under a winter storm warning expecting 4 to 7 inches of snow. Southern and northern Marinette County, along with Brown, Kewaunee, Calumet, and Manitowoc counties, are under advisories for 2 to 4 inches of accumulation. The National Weather Service has issued stark warnings that travel in these regions could be extremely difficult. This timing is particularly challenging as it coincides with the NFL playoff game between the Chicago Bears and Green Bay Packers, potentially affecting thousands of travelers heading to the game. Alaska is really getting hit hard with extreme snowfall and, some pretty dangerous conditions. The northernmost state is facing particularly severe winter weather, with snowfall accumulations of 6 to 12 inches throughout the storm. Some areas, like Thompson Pass near Ernestine, could actually receive substantially more snow. The city of Seward, which serves as a gateway to Kenai Fjords National Park, is expected to get between 6 and 12 inches of snow, with wind gusts reaching as high as 40 miles per hour. These conditions are making travel very difficult and, honestly, quite dangerous. Now, let's talk about the Midwest and Northeast, where folks are dealing with multiple winter weather threats. It's a complex weather pattern involving snow squalls, freezing rain, and, some pretty dangerous wind chills. Lake-effect snow warnings are still in effect through early this week, with snow totals as high as 2 to 4 feet possible in certain areas downwind of Lake Erie and Lake Ontario. The eastern shores of the Great Lakes are experiencing particularly intense snowfall.
From Friday through Sunday, snowfall reports from northeast Ohio, northwest Pennsylvania, and far southwest New York ranged from 12 to 24 inches. Some areas, like Erie, Pennsylvania, and Casadaga, New York, actually received more than 3 feet of snow. Michigan's Upper Peninsula, especially the Keweenaw Peninsula and spots between Munising and Whitefish Point along the shores of Lake Superior, could see snowfall approaching or even exceeding 1 foot. The Porcupine Mountains region is also expecting significant accumulations.
Down in the southern United States, folks are recovering from a major winter storm that swept through the region from January 9th through the 11th. This storm brought accumulating snow and ice from New Mexico and Texas all the way east to the Carolinas and Virginia.
Hot Springs, Arkansas reported snowfall totals up to 1 foot, making it one of the hardest hit areas. Across the Carolinas, significant snowfall was mostly limited to far inland areas. Madison and Eden, North Carolina, both near the Virginia border, reported 4 inches of snow, while a broad zone from Hickory to Greensboro received 2 inches.
Freezing rain accumulated up to 1/4 inch from upstate South Carolina to the Charlotte metro area, creating some pretty hazardous road conditions. 1 to 2/10 of an inch of ice was observed from Columbia, South Carolina, across the PD region, and into Lumberton and Fayetteville, North Carolina. Along the coast, precipitation started as sleet, with generally minor accumulations before transitioning to rain as temperatures rose. The cold weather that came with this storm prompted municipalities in Whiteville, Wilmington, and across South Carolina's PD region to open warming shelters for those in need.
Canada weather conditions for January 11, 2025. Ontario and Quebec freezing rain and winter storm warnings. Canada is experiencing severe winter weather across multiple provinces. Ontario is dealing with a rapidly intensifying low-pressure system tracking across the Great Lakes, bringing prolonged periods of freezing rain that began late Saturday and will continue into Sunday afternoon, lasting until Monday morning in some areas. Areas north of Toronto, including Newmarket, Aurora, Georgina, and Uxbridge, along with parts of northern York region, could see 5 to 10 millimeters of ice accretion. Communities east of Toronto, such as Cobourg and Colborne, are also included in the advisory area. Environment Canada warns that temperatures hovering near the freezing mark could cause rain to transition into freezing rain, leading to icy roads, sidewalks, and possible power outages. In Quebec, freezing rain warnings and special weather statements are in place for Greater Montreal, Laval, Montérégie, the Laurentians, Lanaudière, and the Outaouais region. These conditions create particularly dangerous travel situations and increase the risk of power disruptions. Prairie provinces blowing snow and blizzard conditions. Alberta and Saskatchewan are under widespread advisories for blowing snow, poor visibility, and dangerous driving conditions, with some regions facing blizzard warnings. The combination of fresh snowfall and strong winds is creating near-zero visibility in many areas, making travel extremely hazardous. Southern Manitoba is experiencing blizzard conditions with gusty winds and visibility frequently near zero, including in Winnipeg. These conditions have forced school cancellations and highway closures across the region. British Columbia. Winter storm and snowfall warnings are still in effect. Winter weather alerts remain in effect for parts of British Columbia, with snow and difficult travel conditions expected in several interior and mountain regions. Parts of the province near the Yukon border, including Atlin and Highland River Park, are expected to see heavy snowfall with totals between 15 and 25 centimeters. The North Coast is expecting even higher amounts, especially for inland communities such as Kitimat and Terrace, with 20 to 30 centimeters expected. Nearly 40 centimeters have already been reported at Kitimat since Saturday, creating significant accumulation challenges. Atlantic Canada and the North are also dealing with harsh winter conditions. Newfoundland and Labrador continue to be impacted by a major winter storm in Green Bay and White Bay, where 40 to 60 centimeters of heavy wet snow and winds, gusting up to 110 kilometers per hour, are expected to continue into early Sunday, making travel hazardous and increasing the risk of power outages. In the north, parts of the Yukon are under extreme cold warnings, with temperatures dropping to near -50 degrees Celsius. Residents are being urged to limit outdoor exposure and take precautions against frostbite and hypothermia.
Meteorological analysis. Why this winter pattern is so severe. The latest forecasts show a significant pattern reversal, with the return of cold air by the end of the year and into early 2026. Polar air is spreading across the United States and Canada, driven by a polar vortex core that's bringing down several Arctic waves. This, folks, represents a dramatic shift from the warmer conditions we experienced during the holidays. The current weather pattern across the North Pacific and North America, well, it appears in a wave-like pattern of highs and lows.
A low-pressure area is forecast to drop into the eastern United States, amplified by the polar vortex in the stratosphere. Temperature forecasts reveal cold air anomalies, with temperatures significantly below normal for early January. This is going to impact areas from southeastern Canada right over the whole eastern United States, all the way down to the south coast.
The intense lake-effect snow events occurring across the Great Lakes region are the result of several factors working in concert.
When cold Arctic air moves across the relatively warm, unfrozen waters of the Great Lakes, heat and moisture rise from the lakes and combine with the cold air to form clouds. This process leads to heavy snowfall, especially on the leeward sides of the lakes. The amount and intensity of lake-effect snow, well, they depend on a bunch of things, like wind direction and speed, which determine how narrow or wide the snowbands become, the topography of the surrounding areas which can really enhance snowfall rates, and, most importantly, the temperature difference between the lake surface and the overlying air mass.
This year's particularly severe lake-effect snow is directly related to the historically warm lake temperatures and minimal ice coverage. The Great Lakes are staying warm and relatively ice-free far later into the winter season than normal.
So when cold air outbreaks still happen with these warm lake conditions, the result is, honestly, extraordinary snowfall potential. Research has shown a statistically significant increasing trend in snowfall for lake-effect sites throughout the 20th century across all Great Lakes. And climate modeling suggests that as air temperatures in the region continue to rise, lake water temperatures will also increase, potentially leading to even more intense lake-effect snow events in the future. Though, yeah, some precipitation might eventually fall as rain rather than snow in the southern lake-effect zones.
Parts of the eastern United States and Canada are experiencing a bomb cyclone, which is defined as a storm that rapidly intensifies through a large decrease in atmospheric pressure over 24 hours.
This particular system has brought a dangerous mix of heavy snow, freezing rain, strong winds, and heavy rainfall across much of Ontario and the northeastern United States. The system underwent rapid cyclogenesis over the U.S. Midwest, with surface pressure dropping more than 24 hectopascals in 24 hours as the low moved into the Great Lakes Basin.
This rapid intensification has resulted in more severe impacts, including higher snowfall totals, stronger winds, and more extensive areas of freezing precipitation. All right, folks, here's your 3-day forecast for January 12th through 14th, 2025. Sunday, January 12th. Continued winter storm impacts. Sunday will see the continuation of severe winter weather across the Great Lakes and eastern regions. Lake effect snow will remain intense across favorable zones downwind of the Great Lakes, with persistent bands bringing additional accumulations of 6 to 12 inches in the hardest hit areas. The Clipper system moving through the northern tier will bring snow showers to portions of the northern plains, Midwest and Appalachians. Wintry weather will spread from the northern Great Lakes into New England as the day progresses.
Freezing rain will continue to be a major concern across parts of Ontario and Quebec, with ice accretion continuing to build throughout the day. Power outages remain a significant risk in areas receiving substantial ice accumulation.
Temperatures will remain well below normal across much of the eastern United States and Canada, with dangerous wind chills making it feel as cold as negative 30 degrees Celsius in some areas of Alberta, Saskatchewan, Manitoba, and Ontario. For southern states, conditions will begin to improve with precipitation ending and temperatures slowly moderating, though some areas will continue to deal with icy road conditions from the previous storm system.
Monday, January 13th. Transition day with lingering impacts. Monday represents a transition day as some weather systems begin to move out while new patterns develop. Lake effect snow will continue, but with gradually decreasing intensity as snow bands become more intermittent. However, communities that have already received significant accumulation should remain prepared for additional snowfall. Shortwaves aloft and Clipper systems moving within mean troughing over the eastern US will continue to bring snow showers to favorable lake effect zones of the Great Lakes, as well as portions of the northern plains, Midwest, and Appalachians.
The freezing rain threat will diminish across most of Ontario and Quebec as the system moves further east, but cleanup and recovery efforts will continue in areas that experienced significant ice accumulation over the weekend. Temperature-wise, Monday will see conditions remaining below normal across much of the eastern regions, though the most extreme cold will begin to moderate slightly. Western regions will experience milder conditions with above-normal temperatures expected across parts of the plains. Precipitation chances will increase throughout the Gulf Coast region and northward along the East Coast as moisture return flow attempts to re-establish itself from time to time.
So Tuesday brings the potential for a new weathermaker to develop. The Weather Prediction Center, they're indicating the possibility of a cyclone forming near to well offshore the northeast coast, but there's still a lot of uncertainty about just how significant this system might get and what kind of hazard it could pose.
Lake effect snow will continue in diminished form across the Great Lakes region, with only the most persistent snow bands producing meaningful additional accumulations. Areas that saw the heaviest snow over the weekend should finally see conditions improving significantly.
The 6 to 10 day outlook for January 14th through 18th calls for the likelihood of near or above normal temperatures nationwide, except for colder than normal conditions that are still hanging on in parts of the Great Lakes region.
Near or above normal precipitation is expected in the central and eastern United States, except across parts of the southern plains, which should contrast with drier than normal weather west of the Rockies. For Canada, conditions will gradually improve across most regions, though colder than normal temperatures may persist in some areas. The active storm track associated with current weather patterns should continue to favor precipitation across the Great Lakes region and mid-Mississippi Valley. Safety warnings and travel advisories. The National Weather Service and Environment Canada are strongly discouraging travel across many affected regions.
The combination of heavy snowfall, blowing snow creating whiteout conditions, freezing rain making those surfaces icy, and dangerous cold really does create life-threatening situations. So, travel is extremely hazardous right now.
Interstate highways, including I-90 and I-81 corridors, are experiencing some especially dangerous conditions, with rapidly changing visibility and road surfaces. Multiple vehicle pileups are still a big risk anywhere visibility drops to near zero in those snow squalls.
In Canada, a long stretch of I-35 is closed from Ames, Iowa through the Minnesota border, and, honestly, portions of highways across the Prairie provinces are listed as travel not advised.
If travelers get stranded along these major corridors, they could quickly find themselves in life-threatening situations because of the frigid conditions and those gusty winds that really raise the risk for hypothermia.
The combination of ice accumulation and strong winds poses a significant threat to power infrastructure. Areas experiencing freezing rain, particularly in Ontario and Quebec, face the risk of extended power outages as ice load on power lines, combined with wind gusts near 80 km per hour, could lead to tree damage and downed power lines.
Hydro One has activated its storm response plan and is advising residents to prepare for potential outages. Folks, it's really important to make sure you have emergency supplies ready. Things like flashlights, batteries, non-perishable food, water, and alternative heating sources that can be used safely.
With wind chills making it feel as cold as -30 to -50 degrees Celsius in some northern areas, the risk of frostbite and hypothermia is extremely high. Exposed skin can freeze in minutes under these conditions.
Residents in affected areas should limit outdoor exposure, dress in layers with proper winter clothing, covering all exposed skin, and stay dry, since wet clothing loses its insulating properties. Also, don't forget to check on vulnerable neighbors, including elderly residents and those without adequate heating.
All right, let's talk about the long-range outlook and put all this in a bit of climate context. So, looking at the remainder of January, extended forecast guidance shows good agreement on the overall pattern through next week, with clipper systems continuing to move through the long-wave trough over the eastern United States.
This pattern, supports continued lake-effect snow in favorable zones, though individual events should be less severe than what we're experiencing this weekend.
Temperature-wise, much of the country will see near or above normal temperatures by the middle of the month, though portions of the Great Lakes region may continue to experience colder than normal conditions. The potential exists for additional coastal storm development later in the month, but uncertainty remains high about the timing and intensity of any such systems. When we look at climate change impacts on winter weather, well, while this weekend's extreme weather might seem paradoxical in the context of global warming, it actually demonstrates how climate change is affecting winter weather patterns in complex ways.
The Great Lakes are experiencing warmer water temperatures and historically low ice coverage, which are direct results of warming trends.
These warmer lake temperatures, when combined with Arctic air outbreaks that still occur despite overall warming trends, create conditions for more intense lake-effect snow events.
Research published in recent years has found that conditions producing lake-effect snow could generate 14% more precipitation as the planet warms.
Overall, winters are getting warmer on average, but cold air outbreaks still occur, resulting in fewer but potentially more severe winter storms.
This creates a pattern where significant winter weather events can be more intense and impactful when they do occur, even as the overall winter season becomes milder.
So, this January 11th, 2025 represents a significant winter weather event affecting millions of people across the United States and Canada.
The combination of historic lake-effect snow, freezing rain, blizzard conditions, and extreme cold requires serious attention and preparation.
For those in affected areas, we strongly recommend avoiding non-essential travel until conditions improve.
If you must travel, Ensure your vehicle is properly equipped with emergency supplies, keep your gas tank full, and your phone fully charged.
Monitor official weather sources frequently as conditions can change rapidly.
Prepare your home for potential power outages by having emergency supplies ready and knowing how to safely use alternative heating sources.
Check on vulnerable family members, friends, and neighbors to ensure they're prepared and safe.
The weather will improve over the coming days, but the next 72 hours require vigilance and caution. This is Sky Alert USA, keeping you informed and safe.
Stay warm, stay safe, and we'll continue to monitor these developing weather situations and bring you updates as conditions evolve.
Remember, no destination is worth risking your safety in dangerous weather conditions.
When authorities issue travel advisories or warnings, take them seriously.
These recommendations are based on expert analysis and are designed to protect lives.
Thank you for watching Sky Alert USA, and please share this critical weather information with anyone who might be affected by these severe conditions.
Stay tuned for continued updates.